This video is called I added enemies to my hand-drawn Zelda 1 remake and a surprise devlog number 2. And this is from a YouTube channel called Vasge, V-A-S-G-E, with 21,100 subscribers. And this video has 58,000 views from 3 days ago and climbing. And I saw a part of this. I didn't watch the whole thing. I was like, damn, I want to at least show this off a little bit in the chat. I don't know anything about this guy, but if this actually is able to come to fruition without Nintendo shutting it down first, this is definitely going to be something. And I mean it. This is crazy. Exactly, Sergeant Sapien. This is amazing. I live for this. Like, you can tell how much passion went into just this title screen.
It's been a long wait, but now I can finally say, welcome to Devlog 2 of my hand-drawn Zelda 1 remake. I know it's been a while, so I want to start off by thanking everyone who has been patiently waiting for this. And I really hope you enjoyed this intro animation. I made it because I really wanted to have something special to show after such a long time away. Like I said at the end of Devlog 1, the next major update to the game I went to work on was the combat system. But before I talk about that, I want to take a moment to highlight some of the common critiques I got from Devlog 1 and what I did to address them. Fixed Link's side-running animations. This was by far the most common critique I received, and with good reason. The old one didn't properly show Link's legs crossing over, giving this galloping feel to the cycle. Fixing it was honestly as simple as just editing 2 frames on each direction and giving the back legs some slight shading for good measure. The next major change is that I completely overhauled how the camera works. Before
CJ, exactly. Like, this is what sucks about this kind of stuff. Nintendo is 100% going to shut this down, but it's cool to at least see it in action. And it almost feels like this is a passion project. This guy's not trying to make money off of this or anything. It's just, he just wants to do it because he really loves it and wants to do it. And man, I'm here for it, for people like that.
The camera would just place Link in the dead center, which worked, but also made it so the screen would have too much blank space and exploration would just not feel right. In Devlog 1, I made a point to talk about how the scrolling camera effect from the original adds a sense of anticipation to the player when going to a new screen, but in the end, the fade-in fade-out effect alone was not cutting it. After some research, I found out about Godot's Phantom Camera add-on and was very impressed by how flexible it was. Now, the camera works a lot more similarly to the original, only covering the room where Link is, then pans to the next room once Link enters it. Under the hood, this is achieved by creating different Phantom Camera nodes, editing the limited values to each according to the room sizes, and triggering them to transition from room to room once Link crosses over these very thin collision-shaped 2Ds in the hallways. If you want to learn more about the Phantom Camera add-on, I suggest watching DevWorm's video about it, since he goes really in-depth about how to implement it. And finally, courtesy of Boy Germs, we now have a new music theme for the dungeon, which you can listen to in full in this video. For now, it's a static theme.
It sounds awesome.
But in the future, I will be working with him to make it play dynamically, so it changes depending.
Like, this legit takes you away. Like, whatever they did here, this is fantastic. Beautiful Zexel, thank you so much for the gifted membership. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. But man, I'm telling you, this music and this vibe that this art gives, this is so retro aesthetically pleasing. It just takes me away. Love this shit.
Depending on how deep Link gets in the dungeon, or if you're fighting against an enemy. He graciously reached out to me after Devlog 1 with his amazing take on the dungeon theme, and he also made the title screen theme you heard at the beginning. It's a huge pleasure to be working with him on this.
Now, if Nintendo was smart, which they're not, but if they were, they would hire this guy on, take this on as an official update, and make this game, and work with this guy and make this come out. because it looks so good.
I'm also gonna take this opportunity to just say, go follow and subscribe to Boy Germs. He's awesome. The main addition I'll be talking about in today's devlog is combat. Combat entailed redesigning, animating, and programming enemies from scratch, so as I expected, this took a lot of effort. Before I talk about how I did it, I want to give a shout out to Heartbeast and his Godot ARPG series, since his videos really helped me throughout this journey, and a lot of my implementation is based around his. So give him a watch if you're also trying to add combat to your game made in Godot. Before working on enemies, I needed to prepare Link for the task ahead. I started.
Netflix says, why would they smash? It's not even pixels. That's why they would, though, to do something different.
By animating Link's sword swing animations, which you can learn more about in this short. Before starting to animate, however, I came to a crossroads. Should I make Link swing his sword, or just a stab like in Zelda 1? I chose a swing because I think it makes for a more fluid gameplay experience, and also because every top-down Zelda game after Zelda 1 used a swing, so it didn't make much sense to go back to a stab. This is a remake after all. I also added a roll movement, which is something that's usually more common in 3D Zelda, but I was inspired to add it after playing through some Minish Cap. I like how it gives the player an extra movement option to either engage with an enemy more aggressively, or as a faster way to run away. I couldn't help but think about the Darknut enemy from the original, and how much movement matters when engaging with them. Plus, it was really fun to record the reference footage for the move too, so I have no regrets. Now that Link has all the animations he needs,
XQC is taking notes.
I can make him play these animations when pressing a key, but now that's all they are, just animations. The roll state was fairly simple to make, thanks to the animation player node and how I can add keyframes that change the roll speed variable, making it really simple to polish and make sure that it has a good feel. The sword swing, though, needed more work. After writing the necessary scripts for hurt boxes and hit boxes, I can add them to Link and all future enemies as collision shape 2D nodes with the right script attached. The hurt box for Link's sword swing is bound to each swing animation and is only active for a few frames, once again, thanks to the keyframe feature in the animation player node. To test if everything was working
It is so cool to see the behind the scenes on these
correctly, I made my first breakable object, a jar. And everything worked great without too many issues. Now we can move on to making the enemies. First came the concept art stage. I listed
this guy, he's got a long way to go in this game with the enemies and the dungeons and everything. It's this devlog number 2. This game is probably years and years away, but still. If he gets help from Nintendo, it could come out tomorrow, but
every enemy Link encounters in level 1, carefully looked at their sprites and official art from Zelda 1 and future releases, and drew a lineup of every enemy in the level next to Link.
Damn,
I really like the color palette in the first game, which, although limited, is vibrant and very appealing, so I choose to keep as much of the original colors as possible. I particularly liked how my Aquamentus came out, as I think I managed to strike a really good balance between intimidating but not too threatening, since he is just the first boss after all. My goal for this devlog milestone was to populate the small 3-room section I had already done, so to do that, I set out to make 2 enemies, Stalfos and Keys. I started by diving straight into programming, since I knew this was going to be the biggest challenge. First, let's look at how both enemies work in Zelda 1. The Keys are a fairly straightforward enemy. They are bat monsters which, when approached, pick one of 4 random diagonal directions to fly around, and go down very quickly with a single sword strike. The Stalfos are living skeletons that pick a random cardinal direction every few frames, and go down in 2 hits with Link's wooden sword. I should note that this is the first time I ever programmed anything like this, and as I soon found out, programming good enemy AI is really challenging. My approach to these 2 enemies was aim for something simple but functional, then polish it later if needed. The keys in my...
I would almost argue, instead of what he's doing, is to... I don't know if there's a way to extract the ROM and dump and then overlay this on top of what's already existing, and then just redo the artwork over what's already existing, because it looks like he's doing a ground up remake of this by himself, And that is a hell of an undertaking.
My game essentially are a very basic fly towards the player enemy. They have a big circular collision shape 2D around them that checks if the player's own collision shape is inside them. If not, the keys will remain in its idle state. If the player enters their area, the
Sergeant Sapien for the Five Banger says, leave it to Nintendo to punish their fans for loving their franchises. Hopefully they leave this guy alone. They won't. but yes, I know
keys
what
will
you
jump to a chase state where it will chase Link around as long as he remains within the circle. For the Stalfos, I went for a somewhat mixed approach. Their starting state is a patrol, where, just like the original, they pick one of 5 possible directions to walk. I changed the way they detect the player. I made their detection circle's radius much
I was
smaller,
reading
but
the
I
chat
also gave them a long
when he
and
must have
narrow
been saying that.
polygon that acts like a
Oh,
field
there
of
they
view.
are. Okay, that's why I was
Originally,
confused.
I made
There
them
they are.
only with the polygon, but after testing, I saw how quickly they can lose sight of the player, so I added the circle back. I spent a long time prototyping the enemies, and I did so until I felt like their behavior was just right, with the right speed, acceleration, and friction values. Once I was happy with how they behaved, it was time for some animations.
Mm.
Now I have to get this out of the way. I was very intimidated by this stage because animating more characters means having to animate a lot of idle and walk cycles.
Mm.
But by being smart about it, I managed to cut off a lot of the work. The keys in the Stalfos have very symmetrical designs on purpose, because that means that unlike Link, who has a sword in his left hand and a shield in his right, I don't have to draw a separate animation for them moving left or right. I can use the same graphic, but flip them in Godot. The Stalfos design in particular was a really fun one for me, so I want to share some of my thoughts and ideas behind this. The game easy to defeat enemy, I wanted their design to reflect that. I made them to be around the same height as Link and with a visible hunch. The timing
That
for
is
their walk
awesome.
cycle is deliberately uneven, as to hint that the magic that makes them move is somewhat weak. Their weakness is also reflected on their behavior, since they are slow and not
Like, very underrated. This guy is a very talented artist. Like, I love this art style so much.
that hard to avoid. Finally, I made them hold daggers instead of swords to show that they don't have that much range. Animating the keys was so simple it almost felt like cheating. Due to it being a flying enemy, I got away with just one animation for the flying, which I can then flip depending on which direction is moving towards. In the end, the keys has an idle, takeoff, flying, and landing animations,
That is so cool.
and all were fairly simple to animate. I also added 2 in-between states for them in code. When Link enters their detection zone, they first go through a spotted state, which displays the takeoff animation, and then when Link exits the zone, they go through a lost state, which plays the landing animation. Okay, so the bulk of combat is here, but now I have a few extra features I wanted to add, so let's go through these.
Kamchi says, if they have a heart, they hire this guy. This is Nintendo we're talking about. Don't get lost in the sauce of pretending that they're actually human. Nintendo would crush their enemies. They are Conan the Barbarian when it comes to business. they will not. I would love to be proven wrong. I would love them to actually do something and hire this guy. The Nintendo of yesteryear may have, but nowadays they are a big corporation that just screws anyone. But damn, if this guy was able to get a meeting with Miyamoto and be like, "Hey, this is what I'm doing," I feel like Miyamoto would be like, "I like this."
First, I made it so Link can have his health displayed as heart containers on the top left of the screen. They are shaped like hearts, but they essentially function like a health bar. The top layer has red hearts, which as their health gets depleted, they disappear and reveal the grayed out hearts at the bottom layer. Using shaders, I made a simple flashing animation for when either Link or an enemy gets hurt, which adds a lot more visual feedback to the impacts. Speaking of animations, I also made these simple FX animations for impact and this puff of smoke for the enemy's death animation. Last but not least, I took some time aside to work on sound effects.
Sounds good.
I have dabbled in sound design before, but I'm in no way a proper sound designer, so I had to get creative with some free sound effects from the internet. I was inspired by Boy Germ's dungeon theme since in it, he added a synth layer which evokes the chiptune sounds of the original game. Based on that, I layered simple sound effects with their original 8-bit
Yeah, I
counterpart,
agree.
which
Netflix, I agree. Too many sharp angles. I think that's something that could be edited eventually. But I mean, for what it is right now, I'm not gonna beggars can't be choosers. I just love this. Just in time for the two. What's up, just in time? He should talk to Nintendo Japan before he gets dugged. Yes, yes. Doug Bowser would put an end to this shit instantly. God.
made it feel way less generic and a lot more impactful. For example,
Exactly,
here's
right,
the
Matt?
enemy death sound
For just a devlog too, this looks amazing. It's very far along. Like, there's a long way to go, obviously, but still. Old Man Grim for the 5. This is dope as fuck. I would totally buy a full game of animated like this. It's amazing. Of course, Nintendo's too stupid to ever hire this guy. Shout out to Old Man Grim. Fantastic follow on X, by the way, as always. Thank you for the 5-banger. And yes, if Nintendo was smart, this would be such an easy, not just like not to shut this guy down, but to hire this guy, fly him to Japan, bring a translator along, have him lead a team, and get this game out there officially. And then not just have the game out there, but have that be the story. Be like, Nintendo found this dude and he did this by himself from YouTube. That would be insane. That'd be amazing. Just the story behind it would sell the game. Like, God, Nintendo has lost all marketability. They've lost the connection with the consumer. And stuff like this that would connect them right away again.
effect, which I really liked.
Oh, that sounds so good.
Phew. All of this was a lot of work, so now let's sit back and see how it all looks together.
Oh, the music is so good. Yep, I agree, Matt. It's the music with the piano and the clicking of his feet walking inside the dungeon is it's amazing. God damn, how good is this? And the walls and everything, it takes you away. It's so good. Wait, did he shadow behind the pillar? Hold on. Look, the pillar turns transparent when he walks behind it. For a devlog, dude, that's insane. That's so awesome. I would say that the pillar should turn transparent not when you go behind it, but as you approach it. Like right here, it should get transparent. It shouldn't get transparent only when you walk through it. Like right here, it should already be transparent. But the fact that it gets transparent is awesome. If you were to tell like 9-year-old me that we'd fast forward to me being, what the hell am I, 43 now? 44? I don't even know what I am. I think I'm 43. Um that this would be a real thing, I'd be like, life is amazing. Life doesn't get better than this. We have peaked. This is amazing.
So this is it for Devlog 2.
I think I'm far from being done with these enemies, especially their behavior. The keys are okay, but the Stalfos could use more polish. But overall, I'm really happy with what I managed to get done here. As I build on top of what I have and make new enemies, I'll definitely come back to these two with whatever new knowledge I get, or possibly even collaborate with someone else who knows more about enemy programming. For Devlog 3, I plan to work on developing the dungeon's layout so Link has a bit more space to roam around instead of just these 3 small rooms, which, to be honest, are starting to feel a bit narrow. Before signing off though, I have an announcement. I've launched a Ko-fi page for whoever would like to support me as an artist and creator. I am centering it around my art and animation work, so if you support me there, you can get early access to work in progress animations and behind the scenes material. For example, before I start Devlog 3, I'll be working on a bonus episode where I talk about the making of the intro animation you saw, and you can catch that earlier on Ko-fi when it comes out. And last but not least, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe as we move forward with my hand-drawn Zelda 1 remake. Bye for now.
How amazing was that? That was epic. That was epic. I'm gonna share this again in the chat. And yeah, this guy totally deserves support, but not necessarily from us. And I know that sounds weird to say, but obviously, obviously he deserves support from us. I'm saying he deserves support from Nintendo, not from people. Like, this is one of those opportunities that Nintendo should be taking him up on and should be hiring him, bringing him on as a consultant, or saying something along the lines of, we will move forward with this. We'll give you a team of people and they will take care of the animations. This is the great idea. You can be the director of it, and we got ourselves the best rescue marketing story. I could write the script for how it would, like, we could review this video right here. People come back to this one and be like, remember when Smash was going over that video being like, this is what will save the public perception of Nintendo, just doing something like this? Do it. Like, here it is on a platter. This guy's like literally doing it. But yeah, these companies, they have a hard line on never hiring people on. Outside of Sega with Christian Whitehead, very, very rarely do you ever hear of a modder or an indie dev copying an IP actually getting hired on by a studio. It's extremely, exceedingly rare. But hey, you never know. There's always tomorrow for them to change their mind. Max Rez over on Rumble. Shout out to Max Resist. Max Resist is everywhere tonight. For the $2 Rumble rant, says the Russian art style of Zelda on CDI was peak. Winky face. I mean, to be fair, I kind of liked it. B-Man says, Smash, someone gave the dev $50 in a comment. Damn, there it is. So pretty. I do agree the enemies could use just a little more, though. I'm sure many people have already said this, but attacking animations for enemies would be nice. I also think a hurt and death animation could be nice, too, as a simple knockback feels kind of out of place in this art style. And finally, these are really minor suggestions. It'd be cool to see if the Keys did a charge up attack like they do in the newer games at times, or if the Stalfos did a faster hobble run animation after spotting you rather than casually approaching. Just ideas, though that can all wait. Excited to see what can come out with this project. That's amazing. And thank you, B-Man, for sharing his Ko-Fi as well, because yeah, this guy definitely deserves the support of the community. But more than that, again, I'm going to subscribe to this guy right now because that was legit, and I want bells on for everything. More than the community supporting this guy, I would love to see Nintendo to do that. But again, not holding my breath on that.